Welcome, my name is Tom. This is the Enthusiasm Project Season 14, Episode 2, and I've got something new for you, which is, you might notice things looking and sounding a little different, and I want to explain why before we dive into the episode with our special guest. So, this sort of overlaps with the Mic of the Week and the Gear of the Week segment, because it's the same thing again, just like last week. I am recording this entire episode using my phone. So, first and foremost, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, the phone doesn't look the same as like the full frame mirrorless camera, you are correct. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, hey, the lapel wireless microphone that you're using doesn't sound as good as your normal Rodecaster broadcast mic setup, you are also correct. So then if you're also thinking, Tom, why are you doing this? This is why. Those things, believe it or not, a little bit expensive. And these things, very, very affordable. So I've actually been working on a video for my channel that's about how to produce a podcast with your phone, because I am very much into gear, and I know a lot of people who watch and listen to this podcast are super into gear, but and lots of people are even wanting to get into it. The downside to that is that people who want to start podcasting sometimes think they have to have that gear to get started. And we've all seen the gear doesn't matter videos, and I think that gear doesn't not matter, as I've said before, but you don't need full frame mirrorless cameras and super insane computers and the most expensive microphones in the world, especially if you already have an idea that you just want to make. You can do that pretty much on a budget. The thing I say you absolutely do need is a microphone. Do not use the built-in microphone on any device. Don't use your phone's built-in mic, whatever. Maybe for something super short, it's okay. For podcast length stuff, 30, 60, 90 minutes and beyond, you definitely need something. So today, the Mic of the Week segment is the Hollyland Lark A1, which is a very tiny, super compact wireless mic setup. I do have the windscreen on just so during the course of this podcast I don't have to worry about plosives or anything. But these little transmitters are crazy compact, and I can actually just magnet it onto my very lightweight shirt here, and it's not like sagging or drooping the shirt. That's something I really like. But what's great about this is for $65 I got a charging case, 2 transmitters, a lightning receiver, and a USB receiver, and it's $65. So I have the lightning receiver plugged into my phone. There is a USB connector on there, so if I needed to power my phone, I could just run power into my phone. Even though the phone has lightning, I can now use USB-C to power the phone, which is pretty cool. The Hollyland is one of the only ones, the mobile mic setups I know that has that, and I think it's a really cool feature. So $65 for the dual mic setup. You can actually get a little less. You can get like $35 for a single one. I think even like the DJI Mic Mini has a very affordable single transmitter option. Whole point here being, if all you've got is your phone or a tablet or just a single device, a pretty minimal investment in a very simple microphone setup lets you get started. I'm using the Rode Capture app to record. You could use just your regular camera app or even voice memo. I'm doing video, so that added a layer of complexity. And then I'm going to edit this in iMovie on my phone and then upload it both to Buzzsprout and to YouTube just on my phone. So everything you're seeing and hearing was produced entirely with my phone. And while it's not at the same level that it would normally be, it's way more accessible than needing all of that gear. So that's what we're doing today. And I don't know, I think that's fun. And the reason I'm using the Rode Capture app is because I do have a very special guest. And my special guest today is my lovely wife, Heather Ramirez.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
I don't have
Oh, shoot. I'm looking at the camera. I'm supposed to look at you. There we go.
That's okay.
I did it again.
It's okay. We're trying to figure... I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, I have the screen facing me so that I can see it's recording. But Heather just has the phone looking at her, ideally with picture-in-picture. Because the reason I'm using the Rode Capture app, I mentioned, is because I have a guest. And the Rode Capture app, which is free, and I'm not even using a Rode microphone with it, by the way, I can use the front and rear cameras simultaneously on the phone. So I have the front camera, Heather has the rear camera. I get to see the screen and monitor everything. She doesn't, but she gets the better camera. She deserves the higher quality camera.
Oh.
So
this is very difficult, though, I'm not gonna lie.
well, we are trained to look at the camera lens.
No, I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
even when the camera's not on, like when I'm at my desk setup, just on the phone, like just talking.
Yeah, I look at the camera too.
I look at the camera even though it's not on, computer's not on, lights are on, I still look at the camera. So
Okay.
it's okay if you look at the camera. All that to say, it has been a few minutes since you were on the podcast.
A few minutes.
Many minutes. I don't, at least a season-ish. And so I wanted to have you on today. We're talking about, this podcast with the phone and the microphones, making things accessible, all that. I wanted to kind of turn the tables. We're sitting at a table. I want to turn the table and kind of put you in the spotlight.
Oh boy.
Because you have helped me over the years, like, navigate a lot of different career things. And right now, recording this in September, a lot of people the academic school year starting up again. And I've gotten a lot of messages over the past month or two from people who are either leaving teaching or starting teaching.
Yeah.
And they're looking for input. And a number of them have mentioned that the series we did, the secret series where I was moving on from my teaching job. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was all your idea. And that is probably one of my favorite runs of episodes in this podcast history. And because it's helpful. It's how do you navigate the world of being a creator with your job, and what do you do? We have other videos where we talk about, or other podcast episodes where we talk about our LLC and starting that. And so we have touched on sort of the practical side of starting something, whether it's full-time or part-time. We started the LLC a year before I stopped teaching. So that wasn't I'm quitting my job. Now we're starting a company. It was a way, hey, we have to kind of earn money somehow and be able to legally earn money.
Yeah.
So
over
the past year, almost exactly a year, a little bit shy of a year. Actually, I shouldn't say that. 3 years ago, you started an additional YouTube channel. It was your third or whatever YouTube channel. I want to start there.
Oh, wow.
And then go to where we're at now, because you have done something that I'm really proud of you for doing, that I think is really cool, and that I don't think that is not something we've seen in the creator space. And it's cool to not only just share that story, but to also show an example of there are always different ways to approach things.
Yeah.
Just because something is...
I just want to clarify, this is a we situation.
This is a we situation.
Not a me. I know my name's on the thing, but you
No. It's been a partnership, very much. But, it's your brainchild that I helped, help raise.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the thing that we always do. The same thing. I know you encouraged me to leave my job way before I was ready to do that. But when I was finally ready, you were like, okay, this is how we should do that. This is what would, and same thing here. You're having ideas. You're like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then I can step in and go okay, here's how I can help you do that. Here's how we can work on that together. And we're also fortunate enough that we have lots of other people helping as well.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all that. Prior to getting into that, I do want to promote another podcast series that you have called Charting the Course.
Charting the Course, yes.
So the reason I want to share that, you have a couple new podcast series we could talk about.
Yeah.
But Charting the Course, where can people go if they want to check that out?
They can go to youtube.com/HeatherJustPlay or go to the HJP Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts.
HJP Podcast Network. Because there's several different series on the same podcast feed. Yeah. One of them is Charting the Course, and that's where you work with Suan, who's on a board of directors that we're going to talk about, but also a member of a community that we're going to talk about. You guys dive into kind of the nuts and bolts, sort of overlapping with a little bit of what we're talking about today, but I want to take this more on the creator side of things. Yeah. So I don't want to just duplicate what you guys talk about over there. I want to focus on the side that people know you as Heather from YouTube, and Yeah. I kind of want to do that. So
we're talking to content creators. Yeah.
In your studio.
In my studio.
If people watch your videos, there's a bookshelf in the back, and there's a pink piece of paper on the bookshelf, or a framed pink piece of paper. You wrote something on that piece of paper in a vlog 9 years ago?
Yeah.
What did you write?
Just create more.
And why did you write that?
That's a good question. okay, so in the moment, the reason why I wrote that is because I had just come back from Iceland. It was a trip of a lifetime. I had already been vlogging and a content creator, trying to do this and make it a sustainable career. And of course, when we were going to Iceland, I had booked that trip before I quit my job. So that was a problem because I did not have the money I thought I was going to have or the income I thought I was going to have to go on a frivolous trip, but I couldn't cancel. So I was like, well, let's turn it into content. And so I wanted to vlog. I wanted to do the daily vlog thing where I would crunch out vlogs while I was there. I was able to do a few, but I took so much like photos and videos, right? And I had it all on a hard drive. And then when I came back, I was sick. I got sick. But I was like, I have to get this content out because, we're doing the daily thing. I was at my parents' house. I had my hard drive with all my Iceland footage on top of my laptop, and I was running down the stairs.
I honestly forgot this was part of this story. I did thought these were two separate stories.
And of course, when I turned the corner, there with the hard drive, right smash onto the tile floor.
This is not an SSD we're talking about, I'm guessing, 9 years ago. It's probably like the hard drive that physical damage really, really bad for it.
Yeah, like the Samsung hard drives, So, of course, it was corrupted. It broke, right? So I can't even tell you how, like just on a personal level, losing that footage from going to Iceland, I was so sad. And then I was sick, so then I was so defeated. I went back to my apartment and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm all thrown off, having come back from vacation, my rhythm's all messed up and all this. And I was like, okay, it felt like one of those moments that was like the writing's on the wall, just quit and go back and get a job. But that's when I took out the piece of paper and I was like, you know what? Just create more. Just create more, push through this, you'll figure it out, it'll all be fine. And, that is kind of that has been my mantra this whole time. Just keep going. Just keep creating.
And actually, I'm realizing, what was your YouTube channel called when you...
Back then?
Yeah.
I don't remember when I, changed it to Heather Just Create. It was early on. And Heather Just Create is, going off of Heather, just create more. So I'm telling myself, just create.
Heather Just Create. Like, if you don't know what to do, Heather Just
create. Yeah. But I don't remember what
it had to be after you wrote the sign, right?
Honestly, I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe, I have no idea. That is a very good question. This is lore that I need to figure out.
I want to dive deep into the lore. So, 1985, Chicago. Okay, the reason I brought that up is because that sets the stage. Heather, you wrote Just Create More. That's a message to yourself, but it's a good message for everybody to hear. And then it feels like after that you renamed the YouTube channel to Heather Just Create. And since then there have been sort of a Heather Just blank cinematic universe.
I can't help but laugh because it's like... But it's also, I'm also at the point where I just own it, right? So if you asked me this a couple years ago, I'd be embarrassed because it's like, here are all my failed attempts.
I think it's cool. No, I think it's awesome.
I'm pivoted. I'm trying this, I'm trying Heather Just Plays and Heather Just Jumps and Heather Just, I don't even know. But going back to the original, obviously, I'm someone who has many interests and I think with every single thing that I've tried, it's always leveled me up personally and professionally. So.
Yeah. And so you mentioned other ones. There's Heather Just Jump, which is like a jump roping based one. And then there's Heather Just Play.
Heather Just Play.
So that's what we're going to jump into. That's what we're going to jump into right now.
You were delighted.
I am delighted. So in 2022, spring-ish of 2022, summer of 2022, you got into Final Fantasy 14.
Yes.
We are switching gears and jumping into the world of MMORPGs.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14 is a critically acclaimed... If you haven't played, you should play it.
Yeah.
You've always loved video games since... I don't know what...
Atari.
The 80s probably is when you played video games for the first time. So you're a lifelong gamer. Final Fantasy series is something that came in super early, right?
Yes. Well, actually, this is, I feel like, is a separate podcast because I can go down my gamer journey, but basically, yeah, I've been playing video games for a while.
So you and I also have another podcast on the HJP Podcast Network called the Just Play Podcast.
Yes.
And maybe that could be a future
Maybe
episode.
that could be a future episode.
Okay. But so games, big deal. Final Fantasy series that you played a lot of.
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy 14, which is an online MMO. So you're playing, it's a huge game. Lots of, the story itself, massive. But also, it's a worldwide thing with millions and millions of other players playing. And you've been kind of putting it off, but it had been on like your to-play list.
Yeah, for a while.
And then in that summer, you dove in and got pretty hooked.
I got pretty hooked. I got very hooked, yeah. Yeah. It was it was one of those like life-changing things because then that's what got me to start. How to just play.
And I had never played, I've played video games, but I had been like a dormant gamer for the most part since like I was 13.
Yeah.
You and I played, we got like the Switch, played Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, like that kind of stuff, but I had never played anything like Final Fantasy. And I was just like, that's something, there's so many numbers on the screen and it's crazy and I'm never going to do this. So, but I was very happy for you that you had something that was fun and, super cool story that you would tell me about at happy hours and things.
Yeah. So I started the channel because I could not stop talking. I realized like, up until that point, I had been a content creator that was vlogging my journey in being a content creator, but then also helping other people start and grow their own YouTube channels. And so it was actually really completely different to set aside the coaching, the teaching, the guiding angle, I guess, and just talk about what I like and why.
Yeah.
It was so fun in a, surprisingly different way that I hadn't felt as a content creator in a while. It's just so fun to talk. It didn't even occur to me to talk about video games through my content.
Even though it was like a lifelong passion.
Yeah, even though it's like, people have seen all the music references that you have in your room and you reference it and talk about it a lot. I just, for some reason...
Yeah, but I don't have a music
I think also
channel.
A big part of it was like, I put a lot of video gaming on pause because, it's like priorities. Trying to build a business. But yeah,
So, gaming channel for fun. And I remember I didn't know really what was happening, but I do remember you would do live streams. You made videos, which did really well. Because Final Fantasy 14, at the time you started playing it, to get through just the main story is like a tight 300 hours.
Yeah.
It's big.
So first of all, context. If you don't know what this game is, there's a very popular RPG series. I know it's like, what does this mean? Role-playing game.
Just remember, Gil is probably listening to this and he knows exactly what you're talking about.
It's a role-playing game.
And if he knows, other people know.
It is, there's, many mainline titles in the Final Fantasy series, but a lot of them aren't related.
So even though there's like Final Fantasy 16, you don't have to start at 1.
No, yeah, it's not like that. So they're kind of each their own standalone. So 14 is the one I didn't play because it's an MMO, which means like you it's a subscription. You have to play with people online and stuff. And I was like, no, I am past the play.
There is an extended free trial up until.
Yes, so I wanted to just play by myself, but I heard the story was so good that I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. So yeah, for anyone watching, there is a free trial where you can get you can play this. There's no time limit, so there's no you can only play for a month or you can play for 50 hours. No, you can play for as long as you want. It's just that you can only really get through about half of the main story, and then you gotta actually buy the thing. But to get to that point is gonna take you a while. So there's a lot of game for free that you can play. So available on Mac and PC. Go ahead.
And Xbox and PS5.
And if you do play it and download it, please let us know. Tom will go help you and play.
There might be a community that could help, actually. So I didn't know anything at the time, but I know that, for many different reasons, you blasted through this quickly.
Yeah.
And so for future context, I would eventually play, and it took me a year to get through the main story. You did it in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And you made a video about that. You made other videos about it that were like, that did really well. Like, I don't know how to say like, do
that
well.
channel was monetized. You know how hard. Everyone
4,000 hours, 1,000 subscribers to monetize like a long form YouTube channel.
Brand new channel, monetize in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it obviously struck a chord with people. And then you also did live streams. And even though I had no idea what was happening, I noticed that whenever you did live streams, like not only were lots of people watching the streams, but you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go to this part in the game and do something. And tons of like people would be there as their characters, helping you or hanging out, just having fun.
It was the weirdest. I've never had that happen. I know this is like so typical in the gaming space, but I'd never had an experience like
we were both confused. I remember watching and being like, this is, I don't know how to feel about this, but I think it's good.
Yeah. It's cool.
And
it's
awesome. You were just on like cloud 9 as soon as those streams were over. You were like riding a high for days afterwards. So, so you did the gaming channel for quite a while. I don't know, a year?
Yeah.
I guess. Pretty solidly on the gaming channel, kind of gave yourself the chance to like dive in, and then just sort of as happens with things, it just kind of like stopped.
Yeah.
You know, life happens, priorities shift, you know, work, business stuff was changing at that time. Your husband started playing a lot of hockey for some reason. So, yeah. So you kind of stopped 2023. We go into 2024. We'll save this for the Just Play podcast. But I got pretty heavy into gaming at the end of 2023 because your brother, who also is the one who really recommended 14 to you, got me an Analog Pocket, a little handheld kind of retro console thing, emulator thingy, and that was really fun. And so I decided I'm going to dive into some of your favorite games. I put like Chrono Trigger and then Earthbound. Well, Earthbound's not... Chrono Trigger's like one of, if not your favorite game.
Yeah.
And that was the first RPG I ever played because I was like, I want her favorite game to be my first RPG.
And he's so sweet.
It is wonderful.
He's so sweet.
And then I was like, what else is there? And you and I had like almost started playing Earthbound years ago, and it always stuck with me as like something about that game. And I got real into Earthbound and Mother 3, which is the sequel to that, even though it's called a different thing in the US. Anyway, got really into that and was trying to go into other things. So much so that I started reading literary RPGs because I really like that world. And I recommended one to you. This is now getting into like summer of 2024. And you were like, look, I know that I have tried to get you to play this game before, but if you like this book...
Actually, I didn't though.
You did. You're 14? The one that connected the dots.
I didn't try to get you to play it because I knew
Oh,
it was
no,
like
yeah.
too much of a leap.
Sorry.
I was like, yeah.
But I think you knew that recommending it to me was like...
I never had.
I would probably be like, it's not my thing.
I know you, and I was like, there's no way until I read that book.
Jake's Magical Market.
Yes. And then I was like, okay, I think I see a bridge.
If you like this, you should really do that. And that was the thing that I had been primed through all those like earlier games and through the books where I was like, I think now I understand this and I want to dive in, and I got really hooked.
Yeah.
Into 14. And... I was now suddenly playing this thing. You were like, I never thought in my life I would see you play this. So then you were like, well, I'm going to like log back in and see what's up. And, you know, because you kind of finished a huge story arc and then sort of stopped.
Yeah.
And the game had continued on since.
10-year arc that had finished with 14.
And you didn't too much.
It took 10 years for this whole thing to come out, right? Because it's been like released in seasons, basically. And I started playing when the last season came out, and so did the whole thing, and then there was nothing. I caught up, and
and so you kind of lived in the lore and the world and all that kind of stuff for a while, and then just, you know, priority shifted. So you dove back in and you got hooked again. And so we were both playing a lot, and then you were like, well, I got the gaming channel. And this was, we talked about this before, I think, maybe not on this podcast, but we had literally redone your office setup last summer.
My God.
And you're like, okay, I'm focusing on, you know, tutorials and that kind of stuff. So we had like capture card and consoles and stuff. It's like, let's take the consoles out of here. Let's streamline the setup. Within a couple weeks of doing that, we were rebuilding the setup entirely again to put in all the consoles.
We redid the setup like 3 times last summer,
Yeah, because then you were like, well, let's do more stuff on the gaming channel. And it kind of, it's crazy because in the world of YouTube, taking a 2-year break from a YouTube channel, probably like the worst thing anyone would say to do.
I lost monetization.
Yeah.
Because it had been that long. I got it back pretty quickly, but you know, to get monetization is hard. To lose it and then try to get back again.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because as soon as you started again, like there were people who had been involved prior, like 2 years prior, who were just like, oh my God, you're back. And they just jumped right back in. And then there was also a whole bunch of new people who were on board because you were also sharing my experience with it as like, which is both for people who had never played the game, it's accessible because it's like, oh, here's someone how is their experience, but also for people who have played the game, and I understand this now. Seeing newbies like explore it is really fun. Like you want to share the thing that you like so much with them that it's like, oh yeah, let's see what this person thinks. So it just brought in a whole bunch of new people, and then it was crazy because we started having, like YouTube aside, we started just having, you know, people to play with online because there's certain elements where it's like you kind of need to, you know, party up with people. But then we're realizing it's just sort of really fun. And in your live streams, there was a question that popped up more than any other. Do you have a Discord server?
Yeah.
And you did not.
I did not.
Because both of us were like, I don't even understand Discord.
Discord is such a headache. Like that was what both of us. We tried. We'd been in Discords, but it's so overwhelming that I was like, I can't, it's like I dread checking it. It never like got into my like check Instagram, check YouTube, no. Yeah.
Yeah, but it kept popping up because obviously in the gaming world, people use Discord
all the time.
All the time because it's really nice. It's real time, it's high quality, it makes sense. But so you were kind of like, I don't know, maybe we do need a Discord, and then someone just volunteered like, hey, I'll help you set this up. And it's like, okay, and then so you set up a Discord out of utility, right? Like out of like organic request. We need a place to organize this, not just when you're streaming on YouTube with a delay.
Right, exactly.
There's a 30 to 60 second delay usually when you're streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
Makes gaming hard. We need something where we can talk, we can party up, we can stream, we can do whatever in, you know, very real time. And so Discord community started, and then it started growing. And then it just kept growing, and then it just kept growing. And so now we're getting into basically exactly a year ago.
Yep, October 13th.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to like figure out when this shift was, where it's like, it was a streamer's community.
Yeah.
Heather just plays the content creator, the streamer. She has a community. This is where you go to join it.
This is a very typical content creator model.
Yeah.
Is building an online community around your YouTube channel.
I've heard people do that.
Yeah.
Or attempt to. That never sat well with you.
What do you mean?
The streamer community thing.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the way that I would put it. It was unique. But I don't know, it's hard to explain because, you know, we've been doing this for years, and the community, if you compare the community behind our, like your channel or my like YouTube coaching channels, everyone has like their profile picture, it's their real picture, it's their
Everyone's
first and
very
last
used to putting
name.
themselves out there.
They're all trying to promote their channels too, you know, so it's like, it very much feels like you're going into the same room as everybody. We're just having a discussion.
When people leave messages for this podcast, voice or video, like they sound like the radio.
Yeah.
And they do their video and it's like in a studio. Yeah, it's very pro.
Right?
Usually.
On the gaming channel, it's avatars. It's nicknames. It's
Noob Master.
Yeah, Noob Master 69 or whatever, right? Like I don't know who they are, and so I wouldn't say it didn't sit well with me, but it was a different dynamic where I was very conscious of like stage to audience.
I think that's what I meant, didn't sit well. Not the people, but the like...
Yeah. Not the people.
There was a feeling where it's like, this can only continue as I do it. Like, the community's active when I stream.
I have to be on the stage in order for there to be a thing. Right? I have to be streaming. I have to be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Hey, we're going to do this event. Hey, like I have to be the initiator. And then, you know, there's some people, because this community formed around the game, who could do like, hey, we're doing this in game, and they can do it by themselves. But for the most part, it was very much this is Heather's party. There's no party without Heather.
Right.
And so I definitely recognized early on, I was like, this is not this is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah. And also with the community as it grew, when you think of like online gaming communities, I think there's a stereotype that you're drawn to, the noob masters and things. That, like in Heather Just Play, the people that were joining the Discord, it is all ages. And to date, youngest member's 20, oldest is 74. So quite an age range, global audience or global community. But the thing we were noticing is it kind of seemed like the average age was like 30s and 40s.
Honestly, I would say like 40, 45.
Mid 40s kind of seemed to be like the average, which sort of was different.
I think there's more people in their 40s than there are 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
was...
No, it's awesome.
I had not seen a gaming community that was people of like our age.
Yeah, and that changes... That just sort of changes the approach because people are coming into it. They're not, coming home from their high school class and like letting out like hormonal teenage aggression online or whatever. Sorry to be super stereotypical there. I know not everyone does that, but the stereotype, that one does exist for a reason. As a former high school teacher, I can attest
you
to
can
this.
say that.
But it's very different when someone's 46 and now after work they want to like unwind with a game.
Yeah.
The experience, the vibe, what they bring is different.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really, I don't know, there's something refreshing and special about it.
And here's the difference, right? So here's the difference between like, that is the same on our other channels. It's a lot of, I don't know what the average age is on
my average
channel.
Yeah, on my channel, average age is like 30s to 40s, 35 to 45.
Say like mostly same generation, right? That is not the unusual thing. The unusual thing was the combination of similar life phase generation combined with I'm not trying to build a brand.
Yeah, they're just recreation.
That I had not seen since me being a YouTube creator. I had not seen that at all. I've always been around people who are also trying to build a thing.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but it was just
it's a totally different approach.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's very different to start a YouTube channel to share your passion than to start a YouTube channel to leave your full-time job. Like it's a different experience, different approach.
Yeah.
So that was happening as it's growing. You were kind of feeling like you didn't want it to all rely on you, even though your name was on the thing. It's like, well, all these people are joining. I don't want their enjoyment to be dictated by me and my schedule and my, whatever. Some days I don't feel like playing games. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm busy. All the things, just normal life. And then also, as it was growing, it's hard for one person. Like, you have to like, especially because it is tied to your online brand, you have to moderate the Discord channel and or Discord channels, and you have to make sure things are okay, which like, fortunately, with the audience or the community that you have.
With the maturity level, it's
not a huge issue, but it is something, if something weird happens in the Discord, it could have a huge effect. So you had to start reaching out to people to help. It couldn't be you. I am, honestly, like, I didn't know anything about Discord. I'm a noob, was a noob in Final Fantasy as a Sprout. So I'm not really available to help because I also then am doing my own channel thing. So you actually had to reach out to people in the community to help maintain the community.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then I don't know how to transition to this. The tides shifted. That sounds bad.
Well, so
tell me about Operation Rising Tide. That's my question.
Before we go into that, one thing that I do, since I have been on this podcast before,
many times, yes.
Yeah, and especially if the like impetus for you doing this episode is based off of your series, how you went from teacher to content creator. I think one of the cool things about this whole story, which is still ongoing, like we are still very much at the beginning, is the question of how do you make a sustainable career out of content creation? I think what's really cool is that you guys are able to witness this in real time. We're documenting this in real time. Like, so much of what has happened in Heather Just Play has informed what you are doing now on your channel.
For sure.
And it's, especially with how volatile and fast-paced the content creator space is. I mean, we could do a whole episode on how, like, things that were best practices 2 years ago are just so either cringe or like not
out the window.
Yeah, obsolete, whatever. And so to be able to kind of document, hey, these are the things that we're noticing. Here are the things that are working in an ever growing like AI ecosystem.
Yeah.
How do you cultivate and maintain like genuine connections, which is what I think everyone wants at the end of the day through content creation, is to be able to connect with like-minded people and share their interests and passions or be on the same journey or whatever it is, right? So I think like to contextualize, like, I know it is kind of a cool story, but also taking a step back to put the content creator hat on and being
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, like there's like, I think it's really interesting to like point out what it is that we are paying attention to, because this is how we're literally pivoting our business, our content creator business, to like respond to what's happening. Because I'll tell you right now, like this chapter of what we're about to go into, this is not something I saw on a YouTube growth channel or like
for sure.
I've never heard. We have not seen this done. That doesn't and also we've not seen this done. And so I have not seen it done successfully, right?
Right.
So all the YouTube advice that I have followed, like especially early days, was all tested and proven. Like that was all like, hey, put text in your thumbnails because there's evidence that it helps you get clicks, right? This, I have no evidence. There's no evidence of this being a thing, which is why I'm curious, right? I think it feels like it's gonna work. Or I don't know.
It is working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But it's But getting there is very organic, and I think that's a key thing.
Organic, right.
And maybe looking back with the knowledge and experience you have now, there could have been moments to be like strategic about it. But I think the organicness is what really helped it not feel fake.
Yeah,
because it wasn't
right. Strategic. Like, not that we're not being strategic. Like, obviously, we're thinking about it.
But it is. We are building the track as the train is going down it, very much so.
Totally.
In a way that I'm not used to doing, for sure. Yeah. But it's been super cool. And so as you're bringing in more people to help do this, just out of necessity, one thing that I saw you really prioritize was trying to make sure that like the party you said could continue even when you're not there.
Yeah.
So, like shifting the dynamic from like content creator and audience to just community.
Yes.
And so you give people
so hard.
But you gave people tons of chances to step up and do things. And one of them was through something that you dubbed Operation Rising Tide.
I know. I don't even know where I came up with that name. So anyway, Operation
because
Rising
Tide lifts all ships.
Yeah, I know, but like, was I in the kitchen just like Operation Rising Tide? I have no idea. But so this is February this year, and basically I was, to me, not wanting to have the community's fun and all the magic that was happening be reliant on me, right? I was like, it sucks that I have to like turn on the lights and start the party in order for the fun to happen. Is there a way that it can kind of just like, people could just do that?
Party don't stop.
Yeah, like like how do you shift that? So we had seen glimpses of it, right? Because it specifically in Final Fantasy XIV, even though I had played a lot, I was definitely still a newbie, which is I put in hundreds of hours, but this game is so
you can't
never
finish
ending.
It. Like,
yeah,
you can't
there's
actually
so much
the
stuff
game.
in it. So like in like compared to everyone else in the HJP community, I was definitely on the newbie end, and most of the people that were in there were a lot like veterans, like people who just knew a lot more.
Yeah, because your 2 months of finishing the game is finishing the main story.
But there's like
literally, I don't think you can finish it. There's probably someone out there like, I finished the game. They're freaking lying. They didn't finish the game. There's the side quests and the options and it goes in many different directions.
Yeah. So they had a lot of members had created events around helping me do things, right? And then now helping you do things.
Yeah.
So we had like there's more like advanced content that is like battle focused and like fighting focused.
Not my strength.
I was playing for the story, so it's not my strength either. But there's really good story and lore behind all these things, right? So HJP they would help me create events where these veterans, because there's content where you need 24 people total. Yeah. So they would organize that, and we would go in, and they would kind of walk us through in real time.
Instead of being thrown with 22 random people who
no
could be
idea.
great or could be, you never know.
Yeah. And so, like, that was happening more and more often. And then we had people who had, like, never spoken in voice chat before, never led an event before, never put themselves out there in gaming communities or really any communities before.
Yeah, even in real life.
Like rising up to create these experiences. And I was like, if you know me, I love video games, but that is cool.
Team building and personal growth, let me tell you.
That is the thing. Like that's what I've always been trying to do since day one of this whole entire journey is like, how can empower, support, teach, guide, cultivate, like all those things. That's immediately where I zeroed in, and I was like, oh my God, video games are allowing us to connect and collaborate and like do all these things in a really cool way. How can I amplify more of this?
Right.
It just happens to be through video games, and that's what Operation Rising Tide was. So basically, redesigning our Discord server and then putting together a format to teach people how they can create their own events that other people can experience, whether I'm there or not, was the key. And shoot, I should know this number off the top of my head, but we had like I should know this off the top of my head. I want to say it was like 30, 40 events in 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was every day multiple things were happening.
Yeah.
But it was cool because the way you set it up was like, it's 6 weeks. So we're going to throw everything at the wall. We're going to try everything. People can try stuff, but it's 6 weeks. So for that person who was new to like putting themselves out there, they're not like, I'll do a weekly session on whatever, or I'll help people do this. And it's like, I guess just every week forever. Which I've talked about with this podcast. Like when I started, it's like, I'm doing a weekly episode, I guess till I die. And then after 21 weeks, I was like, I have to stop.
Eventually you burn out because you're just like, I don't even remember why I was doing this, right? But having that like 6 weeks is such a great amount of time for something like this because it's long enough to matter, but short enough where you feel that there's an end.
Yeah.
There's an end point. And then we could just like reassess from there. And that was my whole thing was like, I just want to test this. I want to test if I can shift it to be more member-to-member interaction, community-driven, and I just observe. I help, I cultivate,
You participate, you could be a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, it was intense, and there were challenges that popped up as there were supposed to be, but it was like a pretty huge success.
Wildly successful. Like, it was like, if you're going to ask me like what the test was, right? Like, it surpassed every single expectation.
Like possible metric you could give it.
Every single one.
Blew past it. So, and now we're getting into like April at this point. And obviously the thing that pops up is after 6 weeks, where do we go from here? And
because this was taking
this was full-time job and more.
80 hours a week.
Yeah.
And like first thing I thought of, last thing I thought of.
And it's all free.
The day.
So nobody it's not a membership only community, it's not a Patreon, it's not anything, it's all free.
Open to everybody, and I'm not making, if anything, I'm burning
it's
money.
It's costing money, yeah. So it's like, okay, we have this thing, what do we do with it? In the content creator space, the typical thing is like, well, now you paywall that community. So people want to join, it's taking time, you put that, memberships, whatever, and then that works. And that works really well for a lot of people in a lot of cases, but I know that was something you definitely didn't feel good about doing in this case.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about, because, we were really at a crossroads. Like, this cannot continue at the pace that it's at. And even if I scaled it back, that didn't feel right to me either, because it just felt like we would gain all this momentum and then it would just fade away, Right. So I was like, I can't just be like, well, now it's the thing I do whenever I feel like it, because, for me, I'm either all in or I'm like, it's going to be like 2 years ago where it just kind of fades away. so I didn't know how to adjust the scale without it being a main priority in our lives, right? And so if it is going to be a main priority in our lives, how do we make this like
sustainable,
like as a business? Like, can we turn this into a monetizable creator community?
Right.
All the models that I had seen before, which, we have researched and discussed.
That's everything that I do on my channel. You have courses, you have memberships, you do sponsorships,
Patreons,
you do ad revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, those things exist for reasons and they can be successful. But I know in this case, like the genuine like magic of what people were experiencing, especially just, they kind of just came in to like find people to play a game with is where it started a lot of it. And then it built into so much more. Suddenly, like, making money off of that and charging them for that.
It doesn't feel good.
Something feels off about it.
It didn't feel good, especially when, and I know, like, I hear every business mentor I've ever worked with and every, like, I feel like the advice would be, well, that's value. So charge for that value.
Right.
Like you are.
Yeah,
there's obviously some kind of transformational shift happening in their lives.
And so it's not that people in the community would even be against that.
Yeah.
But that was you and I feeling like it didn't feel the thing. The gut was saying, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
So there was one day I was sitting at the dining room table at the end of a day and you came out of your office in tears and I was like, oh, somebody died.
Literally, that was your thought.
Yes.
Because I wasn't like kind of crying. I was full ball.
Yeah, I was like, what
ball.
happened? Oh my God. Yeah. And it was luckily happy tears. So that was where you sort of like, and this is you having the idea to do this. That's what you call a teaser in the business. Why was Heather crying? Now, you might be wondering how I got into this situation. Now we rewind it. Because prior to Heather Just Play or HJP, prior to Heather Just Create, prior to even working, at schools and admin roles, your experience was in
nonprofit.
Yeah, the nonprofit sector.
Yeah. So even in college, like I was part of a co-ed community service fraternity. I know fraternities have their reputation, but this was a co-ed community service fraternity where your pledging process was to go volunteer. We were a dry fraternity, means no drinking. We were, so every stereotype you have of those kinds of organizations, we were not that. We were the dorky ones on campus. We did dance competitions and stuff.
I mean, I know a lot of your college friends. Maybe the fraternity wasn't, but. That's one, like, as someone who was in nothing, that's maybe the thing, like, I maybe even been like, oh, I could actually do this.
So I was the service vice president of that organization. We had, hundreds of members. And so my job was basically to work with, like, the hundreds of local nonprofits in the area to coordinate volunteering opportunities for both of our pledges and also our members and alumni. So it was like coordinating thousands of hours of volunteering opportunities, and that was in college. And I was always just so, like, since then I've always gravitated to, wow, look at all these organizations do it, like approaching good in the world in so many different ways, because like to find the right volunteering opportunity, obviously you wanted to make it fun, you wanted to make it like you want people to feel accomplished at the end, but also contributing to a good thing, doing something that matters, all of that. We did all kind, like from environmental to going to, like, this one time we went to an organization that took, what are the racing dogs that, like,
Greyhounds?
Yeah. So they were all retired greyhounds, and we just had to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And walk them and play with them, and that was like the thing, And so like it was all kinds of every, industry, every space. And from then on, my working career, like as an employee, was all in nonprofit.
And you even started a nonprofit at one point.
Yeah.
And so that's always been a thing. And I even remember way before we were dating or anything, I remember you talking about this and these things and the passion you had for it and everything. So that's always been a thing. It's not something that, you know, the solopreneur usually does, because you cannot start a nonprofit by yourself. No. So when you want to go be, you know,
if you're helping people,
quitting your job to be your full-time content creator, you can't be a solo nonprofit. It is not possible because of the structure of which a nonprofit is put together.
Yes.
It requires other people. And it's much more complex than like starting an LLC, which you could just do today.
Yeah. If you want to start an LLC, you can get it. You can have, say like a couple days, you can have all your paperwork and you're ready to go.
Yeah, depending on your state, at least in the U.S., you could literally probably do it before the end of this episode. Like, some states, it's like $35 in a simple form and you're done.
Yeah.
California's not that simple, but yeah, anyway. So that's something you've had passion for, but the same way that you had passion, like video games are a lifelong passion, but in my YouTube creator thing, those are my hobby and this is what I'm focusing on. Nonprofit is something I have passion for, but in the YouTube creator space, this is how you earn a living, and that doesn't fit. But last summer, so while I'm getting into Final Fantasy XIV, we're also starting this program. It's our local version of a program that's in lots of places throughout the U.S. Lots of different communities and cities have it's called like Leadership, Your Town Name, or Your Community Name.
Yep.
And so we were in Leadership Coachella Valley because that's our area, our region.
Yeah.
And this is something you would want to do years ago, and then the pandemic happened, so it didn't really work out for different reasons.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I think I want to apply for that leadership thing again. And then I was kind of like, you sort of were like, I think you might like it, and it is something, basically it's leadership development for adult professionals. Mm-hmm. There's lots of different components, but at the core of it, you meet once a month for an entire day, and each day goes through like a different, you could call it like a industry of your region, and you learn more about it. So, you know, there's education, there's media, there's healthcare, arts, transportation, all that kind of stuff. Every month, we had 45 people in our class.
And I had done this program before.
You had done it and run it in a different community.
Yeah, in Torrance, California. So I think that, so typically these programs are partnered with a chamber of commerce, right? So your local chamber of commerce probably has a leadership, something like that. And the whole idea, obviously, is to promote the region and business. But in order to do that, it's really understanding how your community operates and runs, right? And you're cultivating a better community by having people be more informed.
You essentially become like an ambassador for your community, and there's connections, and so when someone needs something, you're like, I don't know how to do that, but I actually know the people who do, and you can kind of like, everything kind of grows together, which is really cool.
Yeah.
One of the days was Nonprofit Day.
Yeah.
And so we went to that and heard from, 16 nonprofits or something in a single day, all the different, like you were saying, all the different types of organizations. You know, I think the most common ones when people hear nonprofit, they think of like a charity, donation thrift store, a food bank. Like those are kind of the ones that really pop up, homeless shelter, something like that. Mm-hmm. But there's anything and everything in between. Mm-hmm. Because nonprofit, the thing about it, which I learned, is nonprofit doesn't mean means no profit. It's not out for profit. It doesn't mean that the people involved with it can't earn money.
Yeah.
It means that the organization's mission is at the forefront, whereas with a for-profit company, might have a mission statement, but revenue's at the forefront, return on investment at the forefront. If it's a public company, pleasing your investors is at the forefront. And sometimes the mission ends up taking a back seat to like, we need growth quarter over quarter, which is not sustainable. But nonprofits, here is our mission. We need to make this mission happen.
Right.
And that's where donations can go to help that mission. People can donate, people can support it. The thing we learned was time, talent, treasure. Those are the ways that people can share what they have. Your time, your talents, or if you do just donate,
have money
fiscally,
your treasure.
That's helpful too. And that was kind of like, I think a lot of that was old news to you in your experience there, but it kind of like rekindled or reminded, I don't know, it was almost like a reconnecting with this part of yourself and your life. And so we came home after that, and you went into your office and were just kind of working on some stuff, and I was like, I think I was just like watching YouTube and eating a snack at the kitchen table like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And then you came out in tears.
Yes, because like, so basically, you know, I had taken all that information for like, because that was like 70% through the program.
Yeah.
Maybe. So
more than halfway for sure.
Yeah. So we had been learning so much through this program, and then that was the end of that day specifically was the end of nonprofit day. Meanwhile, we had just like Operation Rising Tide and HJP had just wrapped up. And I think that's when I was just sitting in my office. I don't even know what I was doing. I was just sitting and like staring at the wall, and then click. Everything just like I felt my whole body was just like, oh my God.
Physical reaction.
This is it. This is it. I can't believe I didn't think about it before. And I'll tell you why I didn't think about it before. Because I've never seen it done. You know, like I've never seen it done. But I feel like I've always tried to focus on the impact.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Versus the income. Like, it's not that I'm not like averse to money.
No,
we talk about
please.
this all the time, right?
Yeah.
But we do often leave money on the table,
yeah.
right? Like, we have just kind of taken a different approach with content creation that, I don't know, is probably not the most business savvy of
it's definitely not.
Approaches, but it's the thing that we have to do it in a way that
you can. It's the price of like sleeping well at night.
For
basically.
us.
For us.
Yeah.
And for us.
And so like I was seeing all the impact in HJP, like literal. You know, I'm not doing a good job of explaining it, but the impact that people were having in this community, it's real, genuine friendships, which is awesome. That happens everywhere, right? It's leading something for the first time, leadership development, great. But it's also this like, I mean, there's so many things, but it's also like, I really liked how diverse this community was, but that's also not the focus because we're not saying... It
just naturally happened.
Right. We're not saying this is a community for these types of people or these types of people or these types of people because you are a minority group or whatever. And so we're trying to like, you know, here's the community where you belong. No, it's like we're all different kinds of things from every time zone, from all over the world, all walks of life. And we are collaborating and teaming up to attack the digital dragon.
Yeah, and even though it formed around Final Fantasy XIV, other games were getting folded in because, you know, if you like that, you probably like play other games. So the community started branching out to other games, even other things. So then we're talking about fitness, sport. Discord has a hockey channel. You know, like people started...
We're actually streaming this to our content creator channel as we're doing this.
Yeah, there's a content creator channel.
Yeah.
And people started building those connections, building those friendships, started branching out to other interests, other areas. And
I was seeing like, I don't know, a really true example of the kind of community that I felt like everybody should have, like every human being. It's not just... Because, you know, we've been a part of a ton of mastermind groups and online communities and stuff like that.
This is very different.
But the difference is that with those communities, there's some kind of goal, right? Like, we're in this community because we're all YouTubers trying to grow our YouTube channel, right? Like, this is where we are. Yeah. This is where we want to be.
Right.
And we're all in that thing. But this is like, there's no
end
goal.
We're
just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
We're just trying to have fun.
But there were those things happening which made the community great, but there was also evidence of it carrying over into people's real lives, where suddenly now they were like, whether it's through work or personal things or whatever, they were kind of maybe like trying new things or opening up, or, you know, you led an event in the community, now maybe you're going to step up and lead something at your job or take a more active role in something. And it was like, wow, it's kind of started as a joke, but it became a real thing of like leveling up in game and in real life, because it completely carried over. Even for me.
I saw it happening, and I was like, I think it's so cool that you can make a positive impact on people's lives without that being the selling point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything else is a selling point. That's why you pay. You are paying because it's like, I'm going to pay because if I'm a part of this mastermind or whatever, this group, I know that I'm going to get 2,000 more followers or, finish this content creator challenge or run that marathon or whatever it is. But here it's like that we just want you to have fun. And as a byproduct of the way that we design the community, you are going to experience a level up in all the different ways.
There have been people who like literally never spoke in a voice chat before, did a camera thing, who are really like...
We have people designing like presentations and PowerPoints.
Designing presentations, putting themselves, starting their own, channels and projects and things, stepping in to help you host. You said I'm not doing a good job explaining it. I think you're doing a great job. But also, I'm trying not to overlap too much because there is literally an entire other podcast on the HGP Podcast Network called Charting the Course, where you kind of dive in more to these nuts and bolts, hosted by a member of the community who had never hosted a podcast before and is a phenomenal host. Yeah. And didn't know that they were a phenomenal podcast host.
Exactly. Right? And I think that's cool. It's like Suin is not joining the like podcast community to try to grow a podcast or whatever. It was just like you said, it happened organically. And I think putting yourself in these situations where you're discovering parts of yourself that you didn't realize you had through it's the medium that we use is video games, but they're so interactive in the way that we create these experiences is where people can learn so much about themselves and how they lead and how they can participate. It's just so, I don't know, it's so cool.
Yeah. So to try to like condense things, because now we're getting into more overlap. You were like, okay, I want to do like, I think nonprofit is the answer for this. Okay. That's complicated. How do you start a nonprofit? It kind of goes into that. You had done it before, but it's like, wait, is that even possible? Like, how do we do it? So then there was kind of like this big research phase.
So, okay. Like, in terms of like, it hasn't been done before, here's why, right? What I have seen is I've seen content creators fundraise for charities and nonprofits. That happens all the time.
Right. We've
probably like donated ourselves to someone's stream where they're fundraising for whatever, right? Very, very, very common. The flip side of that is I've seen nonprofits start YouTube channels where they could talk more about their mission. They have educational videos. Here's, when you donate $20 or whatever, here's where your money's going to. Here are all the, the testimonials of people who have had their life changed, whatever. That's that. I have not seen, I don't want to say it's the in-between, but I haven't seen a content creator online community. Like, that is the nonprofit. It exists digitally.
Right.
I've not seen that.
There's no office, there's no building, there's nothing like that. Plus, the person running the nonprofit is well-versed in creating content and sharing stories and doing that. Because a lot of nonprofit YouTube channels, they put this stuff up, but it's not like, it ain't hitting the trending page anytime soon. And
because those nonprofit channels are only going to the people who already are familiar with that nonprofit.
Right. And so there's that part of it. So there's this huge strength with you're basically taking all of your experience, the nonprofit and the non-nonprofit experience, and smushing them together into this kind of unique skill set. And, speaking of things hitting the trending page, that is stressful, right? Your channel is monetized, demonetized, remonetized. There is kind of the element, okay, we had the talk even before this of the gaming channel should just be the main channel. That's what's lighting you up. That's what's fun. The world of like content creation and coaching and stuff is so crazy right now. Why not just lean into the fun, for all the reasons you mentioned before. But then you do kind of have to play the YouTube game, right? Like, you have to do the thumbnails. You have to stay on the trending topics.
Which that's fine. But like, the problem with the niche that I was in is all the videos that I know, okay? It doesn't,
you can see the matrix.
Yeah, like, I know what videos I need to make to blow the channel up. I felt like to me, no offense, right? To me, they are not videos that I would want to make.
Well, especially with the community that you have, because if you're trying to grow and protect this very special thing that's happening, playing that game is not necessarily like in line with that mission.
Because that's not what I want to talk about.
Right.
Like, I don't want to talk about like the 10 things that piss me off in the game or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's over. we need to talk about the blank situation. The blank situation is out of control. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that is also a benefit of the nonprofit. That is, and I guess this is sort of it. So a lot of traditional nonprofits, they might post like, here's our donor dinner, here's our, our PSA, here's our promo thing that kind of just goes out to the people who are already knowing and donating to the nonprofit. And it doesn't really need to go beyond that. But in your case, like you and we know how to build stuff that is, like kind of beyond that. But through the lens of a nonprofit, it does not have to, the fact of like, oh, it's only got X number of views, it didn't do this, it's another 10 out of 10 video, is irrelevant.
Because with a nonprofit, donations are tax deductible.
Right.
So that goes for anybody. That goes for individuals, but also specifically companies, businesses, and brands, right? So you're not, I think like when you think about sponsorships, when a company sponsors a content creator or, someone's content, it comes out of the marketing budget because they are, they
need to grow their business.
Content creators are basically the digital billboards now, right? So that's what you're paying for, is like have a content creator create content about your product or your service or whatever, your company, whatever it is, right? That's out of the marketing budget. With, as a nonprofit, it would come out of a different budget because, like even individuals, you want to donate to, you're incentivized to donate to a nonprofit because that you get a tax break.
And you get a tax break and it aligns with something that either you believe in or you care about or whatever. And so just from a nuts and bolts perspective, that means different brands and companies would have different incentives to support this, and they're not looking for a return on investment. It's not,
they want to align, right? So it's like
it's not, we need this many conversions from a sponsor video, we need to sell this number. We have a budget of like whatever you want to call it, like I don't know what that would be, the donation budget. You probably know better than I do.
Corporate social responsibility.
You have that budget, and that needs to go to these causes. Where do we put
community outreach, yeah.
And now there's something here, especially for, if you think of a lot of the partners that we've worked with in the past as creators, like, oh, that aligns really well with like potentially what there's just a whole different world of potential partnerships.
An example of this is like if you go to McDonald's, right? And they're like, hey, do you want to round up to donate to the Ronald McDonald Foundation? When you round up, right, you donate to McDonald's, and what McDonald's does is take that and they donate it to their foundation so that the Ronald McDonald
donation
Foundation
is made.
I've actually been to one. It's fantastic. It's super cool. But McDonald's is getting a tax break because they are donating to a nonprofit, right? So, like you can donate that dollar yourself and get your tax break, but by donating to McDonald's, they're getting the tax break.
In a weird way, it's a way for companies to make more money because they are saving money through taxes.
That is capitalism, baby.
But you can take this thing and you can wield it into to something.
I will use what I can.
a mission first project like Heather Display, the nonprofit. And so you kind of looked into it and you're like, okay, nonprofits can be big. They can be giant things, right? Like some of the biggest organizations in our country are nonprofits. But they can also be very small. You don't have to have a physical location. You don't have to have clients seeing you in person. You were kind of looking at like, this is what you actually need in terms of like paperwork, forms, approval to do a nonprofit.
My goal, right? So okay, let's be fully transparent. HJP is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We went through that whole process in the past 6 months, basically. We have raised exactly...
Get ready for it.
$49.09. So this model...
Which also, to be fair, it's been officially as an open nonprofit for less than a month. So that's also like...
Less than a month?
Since you like announced...
Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, since I formally... Because I hadn't told anybody. Yeah. So first of all, congrats, right? Because getting your first donation as a nonprofit, big deal. That's cool. Deal. It's possible, right? People believe in it. $49 is...
it's not going to pay the rent.
Yeah. We have a long way to go. So from the business standpoint, the reason why I want to try this model is because none of the other ones, the content creator models, just didn't feel right for what HJP is
right.
doing. And then trying to approach these, companies that have popped up in the past 10 years that, work a lot with content creators. I wanted to kind of just show them a different thing, like just a new partnership of, we're actually a nonprofit. Would that change how you would want to work with us, right? We're using the same equipment,
right?
All the same stuff. We're creating all the same code. We have 3 new live stream podcasts with 2 more on the way. I feel like if a creator company wants to align with a positively impactful nonprofit, I don't have to worry about views. I don't have to worry. Like, it's not that I'm not going to
try,
or make it the best content that I can, but it feels very refreshing to not be beholden to playing the algorithm game.
Yeah, it's mission first.
Yep.
Exactly. It's the same way that a company can get distracted by like profit first, revenue first. This is mission first.
Yeah.
And that can be the main goal there. So to put this all together, and this is where we can like hand it off to the charting the course episodes you've done where you get into the nuts and bolts. But to start a nonprofit, to start an LLC, you can be an individual, you can fill out some forms, pay a fee, and you're good to go. You have your EIN, your organization ID number, you can earn money, open bank accounts, whatever.
Yeah.
Nonprofit, you need a board of directors. There's a bit more of a lengthy like application and approval process. So you actually had to enlist people both in and out of the community, the HJP community, to be on a board of directors, to make it a real thing.
Put their name on the thing.
Yeah. So someone who might have joined with their random profile picture and computer generated name. Yeah. No actual identity online. Now could be someone
their name and address.
And put all their info out there. Yeah.
And I got to submit that to the IRS.
Right.
Yeah.
And even though, so the way that HCP is set up is you're really the only like employee.
Yeah.
Because you're the only employee, but the board of directors determines the directions, determines the goal, even determine your salary. So that's where it's like, you think like how someone just like juking the system here, but really there's only a percentage determined by the board, which in our case is like pretty modest, extremely modest, of the amount of money that comes in, what percentage of that can actually even go to the executive director, which is you in this case, as salary, and it is definitely not most of it. It's a relatively, I forget exactly what the number even is, but it's like...
it's most of it.
It is most of it?
It is most of it, because I am the asset. I know that sounds weird.
No, I know, but sorry. No, but it's...
Are we talking about the budget?
Yeah, we're talking about the budget.
Yeah.
The executive director can't take all the money that comes in.
No, of course not.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the money comes in, like I say you have $100 that comes in.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I want to say it's like 40%.
Yeah, I think 40 is the one that's popping. So maximum is 40% can go to salaries, or in your case is one person.
I submitted a budget to the IRS because you have, you have to have like I can't remember, a projection budget for the first 5 years or something, 3 years maybe. And, I was like, if everything works out, we get $150,000 a year, right? So how much of that goes to my salary for operating the thing? How much of that goes to all the, keeping the lights on, the equivalent of that, and all that? And we're not going to get $150,000 in the first year. And so what the board decided was that we would do a percentage. That's where the percentage. Well,
because even whenever, say a time does happen that there's that much money comes in donations, it doesn't mean you're getting $150,000. I'm getting $150,000. It means you're getting like
board members can't even be paid.
Board members can't even be paid. You're getting a modest salary because it's a full-time job to run and maintain it, and then the rest of it goes towards, like you said, keeping the lights on. And then also, there's different initiatives and opportunities and stuff because, we want to serve the community and serve the people in it as best as possible. And that sometimes takes money to do. Yeah. A lot of times takes money to do.
Exactly.
But that way, instead of monetizing from the community benefits from the mission of the organization.
Because you wouldn't ask the people at the food bank to pay for their food. that's why they
right, that's
are
a
hungry.
restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the difference, is like, you know, and I feel like I feel like the impact that's happening on our members is justifiable. Like it's life-changing impact. So my job is like, how do I share that and, you know, show people how important it is that this exists.
Right.
Right. For anybody who wants to be a part of it, it's great. But also, this is just such a good thing. Like, it's genuine connection. And I feel like in this world, we could use a little more fun. Right. And I think that translates. When you're happier, you go out in the world and you're happier. You know, and so yeah, like that's gonna be the tricky part, is like, you know, I'd be curious to see where we are in, you know, by the end of the year.
Oh, we can do another episode and catch up. I think that is the perfect note to wrap up on, because also I don't want to overlap into existing podcasts, and also recording with the phone, I now have the low storage warning popping up. So, but I think that's perfect. That kind of sets the stage, gives the background. We dove into the lore. Yeah. And then if people want to listen to Charting the Course, they can go to
HJP Podcast Network on wherever you get your podcasts, or go to youtube.com/HeatherJustPlay.
And if they want to learn more about Heather Just Play, the organization,
heatherjustplay.org. Yes. And I do want to say, like, I think it's really cool that we are sharing this in real time, because like I said, you are such a big part of it. You are the president of our board, but then also you're getting so many ideas for youtube.com/TomBuck.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
Like, this is now a channel, 165 something thousand subscribers. Like, with every content creator, you can't just do the same thing.
Yeah, everybody has to, which
you have to keep
carving your own path has been a running theme. Like,
yeah,
you can't copy paste what works for somebody else, but it's fun to see what other people are doing and share, you know. Yeah, so it has been transformative for my own, you know, more like traditional content creator experience.
But as a member also.
Yeah, sorry, the thing went off and I'm nervous there. But it's also been transformative for me as a member. And I'm going to remember to wrap this up because my phone's running out of storage. That's maybe the downside of recording on a phone. But yeah. Thank you for being here. And I think that was the last thing I wanted to say was, this was something that regardless of where it does go, if we didn't do it, it would have been a huge regret.
Oh, no, yeah.
And you can't fix regret. So that's the number one reason to do it. So with that being said,
we'll see where this goes.
I'm really grateful for you sharing all that here and being so transparent. I'm grateful for everyone listening and watching. And heatherjustplay.org. If you want to send anything, as always, Tom@enthusiasmproject.com. And with that being said, thank you for listening. I hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your week. And I'll see you next time.